front and leading the praise and worship for today by herself. All I can say is look at God.
Amen. Amen. Look at God.
I won't take up a whole lot of you all's time today. I do want to talk about a little bit of a sermon that Pastor Frankie preached a couple of Sundays ago about what do you do when your midnight comes, and about what you do when you look around and there's nothing but darkness and there's nothing and nobody. And then I thought about something else when it comes to darkness. Darkness at midnight comes when it's dark outside. And who can tell me two things that are on every obituary they have ever seen? It's on every single person who's been buried. It's two things that are on their obituary. Does anybody know what that is?
Sunrise, sunset.
Sunrise and sunset.
Sunset.
Now, what time of day does midnight come?
12 o'clock.
Midnight, when it's dark, when the sun has set. So that message really rang true to me about some things that I've gone through in my life. I'm fairly young, 36 years old, and I've been through a divorce. I've been through the passing of one of my children. And if you're a parent in here, you know that losing a child is something you never want to experience.
Amen.
And I'll tell you something else. It's different when you watch someone you love slip away.
Amen.
Not that it would have made it any easier if my son would have been lost in a tragic accident, a car accident, or something that would have happened quickly. But when you watch someone you love slowly slip away and pass, it takes a toll, not on your mind and not on your body, but it takes a toll on your soul. So when I was listening to Pastor Frankie preach, what do you do when your midnight comes? And at my darkest hour, when there was nothing that anyone could say to comfort me, when there was nothing that anyone could do to make it better. And when I looked around and everybody told me, Frankie, it's going to be okay, it'll get better. And all I could think about was, those are lies. Because the only thing that would make it better is if my son were here. And he's gone, and he ain't coming back. So the only hope that I can have is to get myself right so that I can see him again.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
But it hurt for a long time, and it's going to continue to hurt. And some days I can hardly get out of bed because I wake up and I remember that he's gone. And not that I love any of my other children any less, because I got a bunch of them. I got 7 total. Not that I love any of the rest of them any less. And as parents, you're not supposed to pick and choose. But Bradley was my pick.
Amen.
And I was very, very close. And when you think of the term soulmate, you often think of your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband or your spouse. But soulmates are two people that are on the same vibration from God. Bradley was my soulmate. When you saw him, you saw me. Whenever it was time for surgery or chemo or radiation, he would always ask me, was it okay? And I would always have to tell him, yes, it was okay. Even though sometimes I didn't know if that was true. I just had to believe that he was going to come out of whatever situation okay. And he trusted me. And in the last few days of his life, he hung around. His heart would stop. They would revive him. And he would continue to fight. And I knelt down beside him, and I asked him what he was waiting on. And when I gave him permission, my mother as a witness, a few short minutes later, he took his last and final breath. And that time there wasn't no reviving him because he was gone. He was ready to go and be with the Lord, and he was waiting on permission from me. Bradley was my soulmate. So when you ask yourself, what do you do when your midnight comes? When the sun sets on your soul at your darkest hour, when there's nothing and nobody that can help you, that can comfort you. And when I say I had nobody, I don't mean that my mother or my father wasn't there. I don't mean that my sister or my brother or my friends or my cousins, aunts and uncles weren't there. But what I needed, which was healing for my soul, wasn't there. And that absence only was there because my relationship with the Lord wasn't there. So as I continued through my journey, and I ain't there yet, far from it, I got a potty mouth worse than a sailor. And I'm going to tell you something, my children are one of the reasons I can't get my life right. Because I don't have to blame them for me cussing. Because they do some things that I feel like want to make me cuss. But I have to work on it, and I have to pray about it. And even some situations I'm going through now, when I feel like there is nothing that I can do, it makes you feel helpless when you can't control a situation.
Amen.
When you can't fix it. When you can't make it right. When you can't make it better. The only thing that you can do is pray. And I'll tell you something. They say it's always darkest before the dawn. And midnight is the darkest hour. But if you keep on praying, and keep your eyes on the prize, you'll see a little speckle of light at the end of that tunnel. And you'll start to thank God for the things that you do have, because it could always be worse.
Amen. Amen.
I spent my morning down at Crisis Assistance Ministries this morning. And I looked at all walks of life. And when they made the announcement that they couldn't take any more people, some people was mad. One lady showed out. And I looked at that situation, and I was mad too for some things that I really needed help on. But I had to be reminded there were people down there who were padlocked out of their house who wasn't going to get help.
Amen. Amen.
And you know what? I had to thank God, because although my house ain't much, it's mine, and it's paid for, and the deed is in the drawer in my kitchen.
Jesus.
Amen.
So
Jesus.
There are lots of other people down there who are worse off than I was.
Amen.
So I just wanted to talk to you all a little bit about what to do when your midnight comes. And there is nothing that you can do but pray and hold on. Because when you start trying to fix things, one thing that a good friend of mine always used to tell me, Frankie, if you take your hands out of a situation, it might work itself out.
Jesus.
But as people, we want to fix it. We want to control it. We're going to make it right. We're going to pick up extra hours. We're going to do this. We're going to go to the pawn shop. We're going to sell this. We're going to borrow from this person. When in reality, ain't nothing that we can do. Because I tell you something, I did all of those things. I borrowed. I sold everything I could get my hands on. And I tell you what, I look back several weeks later, and I'm no better off than I was a few weeks earlier.
Amen.
And that is because I didn't wait. I didn't wait on whatever blessing the Lord had for me, because I was too busy trying to fix it.
Amen.
So when your midnight comes, just hold still and wait and pray. It may not be an immediate answer. And no, you may not play a scratch off and hit it big, or you may not hit the Powerball, but it'll fix itself. And whatever situation that comes out of it, I guarantee you it'll be better than it was. Because even if it's, oh Lord, they're going to take my car, they're going to take my car, they're going to take my car. Once they come and pick that car up, your worry-ation will be over. And I'm telling you from experience, because then you don't have to worry about ducking and dodging. You don't have to worry about people following you. You don't wake up in the middle of the night looking out the window seeing if the car is still there. Your friends and family not calling you, saying your finance company is calling, harassing me. It's over with. So although you may not have a car, you don't have a car payment no more either. So there is a light at the end of that tunnel. So you might just save those 2 car payments and go buy you a pop back and pay here. And then move on and be just in time. And I'm telling you from experience, that at one time I had a lot of money and now I have none. And I was so stressed out because we couldn't keep that big house and those big Jeeps with them 22-inch rims on it. But I tell you what, when I bought that 1988 Chrysler Benz with the seats that wouldn't even stay on it, I was so peaceful because I didn't have to worry about it. I wasn't hiding my cars in the garage because it was over with. And you know what? I didn't think I would make it through, but I made it through, and now I got another new car outside. So hey, it was the time for me. It's dragging and falling apart, and it's still brand new, but it's mine. And ain't nobody calling me about it. So the situation's still. And I'm going to close up by saying something that my mother used to say to me all the time, was that I hate to see you cry. And behind many situations, behind the divorce, behind life, behind losing my son, I cry all the time. I still go to, my son's been gone a year and a half, I still go to the cemetery 2, 3 times a week. And I sit out there and I cry and I weep because he's not here. But then I have to rejoice because you know what? My son fought cancer for 7 years.
Amen.
Brain and spinal cancer,
Amen.
Radiation, chemos, constant head pain, hospice, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stand up. All of that stuff, I have to rejoice that he has no more pain.
No more. No more.
So when I looked at the end of that dark tunnel, there was that speck of light.
Amen.
And every time I wake up and I roll over and I see his picture on my wall, and I feel sad and my heart is heavy, I then look at another picture of him holding my hand, laughing. And I have to know that he's still with me.
Amen.
Just like God will still be with you when your midnight comes.
Jesus.
And I'm going to close with a little song because my mother used to always say, I hate to see you cry. I hate to see you cry. Feels like your world is torn apart. Just know that God is able. He'll heal your wounded heart. He knows the things that lie ahead to come your way. Keep standing on His promises, believing what He said. Do you know He is here? He will never hold on. He's strong. He will do just what He said. Thank you. Thank you, sir.